Hey beer tubers, it's Ryan back with another episode of San Diego Beer Vlog. Hope you guys enjoyed Stone Week. So now I'm going to transition into Lost Abbey Week, or the Lost Abbey I should say. And today I'm going to look at Red Poppy. This is a brand new 2011 release, just came out a couple weeks ago. I did try it on draft when I was at the brewery picking up bottles. This is it's a Flanders red ale, which means it's a Belgian style sour red ale. And so what they did with this beer is they brewed it up as like an English style brown ale in this case. They put it in their barrels. They feed it a little bit of some of the critters, probably most likely some of the souring bacteria like Pediococcus and Lactobacillus. Maybe even threw in some Brettanomyces yeast, wild yeast in there, but let it go in the barrels for a year before they release this. Oh, and while it was in the barrels, they also added cherries to the mix. Wow, this is a hard cork to get out. But some nice CO2 popping up. Wow, I can get aroma already just coming off this bottle. Wow. And so what's really interesting about this beer is that it's only 5% ABV, which for a barrel-aged beer is very, very low. So it's very hard beer to brew when you're at that low of an ABV going into barrels, but they're able to do it with this beer. So in that case, it's kind of like a very delicate beer. So no issues with carbonation whatsoever with this one. It's a pretty dark beer. It kind of has those kind of dark ruby red notes into it. Gets up into like a maroon color by the time on the top of the head, but very hazy, very, very hazy. A lot of carbonation streaming up from the bottom. Got about a 3-finger head. It's actually mostly medium-sized bubbles on there. So let's get the aroma on it. Oh man, this is an awesome aroma. This is it's very unique. You do get tart cherries on the nose. You get that kind of sourness, that kind of just a touch of vinegar with but you also get there's a big sweetness from this. Acidic sweetness is kind of like the nose on this. Big cherry notes, maybe a little kind of breadiness from the yeast. Maybe like a touch of spice, but mostly big acidic, very fruity cherry notes on the nose. This beer, it's kind of like a wine in a lot of ways, except it's carbonated. It's like a carbonated sparkling red wine kind of. But ready to dig into the 2011 Red Poppy. Cheers. That's real nice. Up front, tartness. It's definitely there. It's not overly tart though. Some of these sour ales, these wild ales, whatever version they may be, in this case a Flanders red ale, it can be way too tart up front. This one's got a nice tartness up front, but then you get a nice blending of the base beer and those cherry notes as well. Like there's a good enough carbonation in there, but the kind of tartness powers through it. And then you get this kind of like a red wine, kind of sparkling kind of wine mix going, because you get those, it's very vinous in its character with that cherry notes. I mean, I've never had a cherry wine, but if I did, I imagine it'd kind of be a little similar to this beer actually, because you get that real kind of nice sour tartness, but then you get this kind of acidic cherry, this fruity cherry notes from the beer. And it finishes really dry, so they're probably using Brett to get it to this dryness level, although it's a 5% beer, so maybe they brewed it with a different yeast strain to get it on the dry side as well. On the taste, it does lack the apple cider vinegar character that some sours can have. So in that sense, it makes it really extremely drinkable. It's a very refreshing beer. Actually, now that I smell it a little more, as it's pouring out my glass, I get a little more of like a woody character you get from the barrels, but I also get like a little bit of a little funk going on, so there probably is some Brett in this. As your palate gets used to the tartness, you can start getting more of the complexities that's involved in this beer. And for a 5% beer, it's very impressive, the amount of flavor coming off this thing. Although it's very tart, there is some sweetness in there. Once that tartness goes away, it's like an acidic sweetness. So even though this is a low ABV beer, this is certainly something that you could age even longer. As you age it, the tartness is going to start to fade away. Just over time, the acids that the bacteria produce in the beer just start to really mellow out. It's very much like tannins in certain wines, and even though it's 5%, the yeast character in this one's bottle conditioned. All that's going to kind of take care of preserving a low ABV beer for a long period of time. So I'm going to be looking forward to see how this is drinking down the line. I did pick up a few of these bottles. Chris from Beer Geek Nation did get one of them though. So I hope he enjoys it. I'm enjoying this one. I'm going to give it an A. I think this is an excellent example of a Flanders Red Ale. Certainly one of the best American examples of the style, although this isn't, you know, a by the numbers style Flanders Red, since you do kind of have that cherry component in there. But it really works well with the beer. It's nicely balanced with tartness, some sweetness, good carbonation on this one. It's very refreshing. You could easily enjoy this on a hot day, no problem. Some people don't like the session sour beers, but I could have a few bottles of this, no problem. This is it's very highly drinkable, I think. So an excellent beer from the Lost Abbey. This is the 2011 release of Red Poppy. Just came out. It's getting full distribution, so if you can find Lost Abbey beers, you should be able to get this one in. I don't know how long it will last, but it's not the cheapest beer either. I don't really try to, you know, let price affect kind of scoring, but it is kind of like a beer that's borderline A+, but this isn't a cheap beer, unfortunately. But until next time, guys, please comment and subscribe. Cheers.